Dear Lord Kitchener, I am an Irish boy, 9 years of age, and I want to go to the front. I can ride jolly quick on my bicycle, and would go as a dispatch rider. I wouldn't let the Germans get in. I am a good shot with a revolver, and would kill a good view of the Germans. I am very strong and often win a fight with lads twice as big as myself. I want a uniform and a revolver, and will give a good account of myself. Please send an answer. Yours affectionately, Alfie Knight. Alfie Knight was a young boy at the beginning of the war. Fascinated by Lord Kitchener, the Irish Secretary of State, he felt the impact of nationalism and a pull to join the war of his parents, and this was not an uncommon experience. Throughout the war, many children and women on the home front felt the pull to join the war effort. This was exacerbated by the effect of wars on schools. During World War I, children were taught patriotism in their school through saluting the flag and singing patriotic songs. In addition, children in the Boy Scouts and Girl Guides were taught to help the soldiers in various ways, including knitting socks, donating money, and more. But there were some less desirable effects to the nationalism developed during the war. Many children, Alfie included, attempted to join the war effort underage, and some successfully falsified their age and joined. In addition, factories began to disregard child labor laws and employ these children to work, which led to unsafe working conditions. But what fueled all of this nationalism? Propaganda. The propaganda used in various countries on the home front, directed to families, led to more participation in the war. An example of this is, "Daddy, what did you do in the Great War?" This piece targeted men who were not participating in the war, in the shame that they would feel in their family. This used children to force nationalism into their families. There were also pieces directed specifically towards women on the home front. An example of this is the Red Cross piece, Hold Up Your End. It features a nurse holding one end of a stretcher and beckons the viewer to do their part too. On the home front, propaganda played on the shame and guilt people felt for not impacting the war directly. However, many women made up for this by working in jobs previously intended for men. As men enlisted, women began to fill these roles.
During the war was the first time many women held paid positions. Women began holding jobs in artillery factories and the army, cooking, nursing, and doing laundry, and took up vacant job positions in the countryside, assisting the remaining men in harvesting, raising livestock, and carrying out housewife roles. Most importantly, women from all social classes began working during the war. Middle and lower class women would serve with the military or take over male roles on the home front, and upper class women would found voluntary organizations. One such upper class woman was Alice Ames Winter. Alice Ames Winter was the head of a women's committee established by the Minnesota Commission of Public Safety and the head of the Minnesota Women's Committee established by the Council of National Defense. Winter's high authority role in both these committees allowed her to act independently of the Minnesota Commission of Public Safety, as well as set her own agenda. Winter's work spread throughout Minnesota, creating women's committees in nearly every county throughout the state which worked to support the war effort. Her committees were used to spread ideas of food conservation, as well as raise money for organizations such as the Red Cross. Women from her committees also received volunteer and work opportunities to take over jobs that men left to go to war. Winter also worked outside her committees to bring change throughout the community. Most importantly, Winter advocated for the protection of women and children on the home front while husbands were off fighting. Winter also advocated to immigrant communities that Americanization was necessary to win the war, including to German American, Austrian American, and Finnish American communities. This spread great patriotism throughout Minnesota's residents, and more people began turning to the English ideals of life. Before the war, Winter might have never been able to take this leadership role, but because of the war, she was able to make a huge impact for many people. Even though the war may have seemed negative, it paved the way to more freedoms for women and ignited a sense of nationalism throughout nations. While men were off fighting on the war front, people throughout countries of all ages and genders came together to help support the war effort on the home front. Whether it was through propaganda or simply raising money, the home front was where children, women, and men worked together for a common goal, the victory of their own nation.